Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Mark Harris, and welcome to the show. Pretty short episode today. I'm just going to go through my take on the top teams of the league, so watch out for that. And then we're going to just go into the games of the week, get this popping. I'm not going to go too much into the preseason, but there's a lot of teams in my eyes that went down. There's a lot of teams in my eyes that went up. Let's tune in. Alright, now first we have the rebuild tier. This tier just strictly means I don't think any team on this tier I don't think is going to make it into the playoffs. I'll be shocked if any of these teams make it. Let's get it in. Now first we got the Cleveland Cavaliers. Now I don't think they're going to do anything big. They got two walk-ons just starting out, Kenny and Marco. Their best player is Brandon Beal, who didn't really make an impact in the development league. So I think this is rebuild phase for them. Let's get to the next one. Minnesota. Now their best player is Lloyd Jamison. He played with Derek Irvin, but he was really getting carried by Derek Irvin. This is going to be his first time leading the team. They picked up Kershaw Johnson and Trey Walker, and I'm going to put them in rebuild, but they can go to the next tier, but for right now, we're going to put them right here at rebuild. Now next up is Utah. Their best player is Khalid Ahmed, and like all these teams have in common, their star player is not that good. They're going to struggle throughout the season, and I don't see anything shining about that offense at all. And that's pretty much it, man. There's not much to talk about, right? Now next is Detroit. Now their best player is Luke Carter, who did have a nice preseason game, but won his preseason, and he's inconsistent. He played with Ryan Williams, and if Ryan Williams is your first option and you're the second option, y'all are not being successful. What's it going to be like being the first option? Same thing, right? Next up is Denver. This is one of those teams in the tier that I think can move up because they're not really a star player, so the ball is going to be spread out a lot more. At the same time, because there's no star player, they're going to be taking a long time to figure out their process, who's going to be their first option and rebuild. We'll see how they look next year. If they shock me, they shock me. Alright, so the next tier is the Hunters. Now anybody in this tier, I believe, is fighting for the tier above them, right? And there's also question marks on these teams where, I don't know how they're going to play out, and I'm just going to let them play out. But roster-wise, they don't have the talent. Now the first team, as you can see, is Orlando. Their best player, Mo Murray, he played alongside Topher Newton in Columbus. He got some stretches where he went off, but he literally went from undrafted to top 11 and back down to 22nd. So that's just to show, where he is, and I don't think he's going to bring a lot of success to this team, but we will see, because they did win their preseason game and they looked pretty good. So let's get to the next one. Next up is New Orleans. Their best player, who is Tyler Jones. He was the fourth best player on that bona fide OP Miami team in the development league. We're going to see how he does with his own team. He has a pretty solid roster. It's okay, right? But I want to see if he can make those guys around him better, picking up the flash on the walk-on signings, and let's see where this team goes. They got a question mark on them. Now next up, we got Celadon City, which their best player, Omar Vasquez. He looked pretty sharp in the preseason game, but still a question mark. Not a lot of good players on their roster. Ace Campbell is one of the walk-ons that looked pretty decent. He looked promising, but who knows? Another question mark on this one. Let's get to the next one. Now next up, we have Atlanta with Ty Adams and Mike Cousins. They look pretty sharp in their win. and I feel like I'm lowballing them just because, in my opinion, there's a lot more talented teams out there. I just feel like they're right there under them. I'll give them a couple more pieces, and I feel like they'll be in the tier above, but for sure, question mark. Next up is Milwaukee. Now Milwaukee and Atlanta are the two teams that I really expect. I wouldn't be shocked if these two teams are not in the same tier spot next week. So don't sleep on them. You better watch out for them next game. And let's get to the next one, man. Now this tier is going to be league bound. League bound just means straight up they're going to the Master League, aka the playoffs. We call it the Master League here at the A.H.L. They're going to make it to the Master League, no doubt. These teams are going to make it there, and they're going to be fighting for that contender spot. Now let's get to the team. Now first up on this list is Indiana, and I know I said I wouldn't take the preseason so hard, but I'm gonna make an exception for this team just because I thought Golden State was leagues ahead. In my pre-tier team, I had Indiana a lot lower. I had them in the 100 tier list, but after that preseason game, they kept up with them. They kept up with them, and then they also beat them coming from behind. So I'm not gonna sleep on Indiana. Let's hope I'm not putting too much into Indiana. This is where I put them. I think they're gonna be league bound. I think they're gonna be fighting for that contender spot. Now next up, we have Lavender Town, and I think Jacob Johnson is going on a revenge tour. Now his team in the development league, New Orleans, was not that good, and they missed the playoffs. But he has a way better team, a way better roster around him that I feel can be successful. And I feel like they're going to be fighting for that contender spot as well. All right, now let's get to the next one. Next up, we have Golden State, and I had Golden State in contender, but I feel like I put way too much on them. Now, this is another team led by another Miami player in Steve Robinson. He's going to lead this team, and they look really good. They look like they can score in a bunch of different ways. And this is one of the teams I'm excited to watch. Can't wait to see how all that unfolds. Yep, they'll be bound. Next up, we got Philadelphia, led by Dylan Ayton. He has a nice team around him. I feel like once they can figure out how to work together, they can make all that work out. They got a nice walk-on in Katie Furukawa. I think he's gonna be really, really good. So yeah, they got a nice roster. We'll see how the season goes. If they're not in here in this tier next week, I won't be surprised just because I feel like I'm putting too much on them as well. So yeah, let's get to the next one. We got Boston, led by Patrick Jones. Patrick Jones went off in his match. I know they lost, but Patrick Jones, he's also on revenge tour. He's another very good player. He was a third-round pick and didn't make it to the playoffs. So he's going to make sure they make the playoffs this year. This team as well is going to be high scoring, very fun to watch. But at the same time, I don't think they're contenders. I do think they'll make it to the playoffs though. Next, we got Team Rocket, led by Harry Anderson. Now, Harry Anderson, very solid player, very good player. Their team looked really good, but at the same time, I can't put them in contender just yet. I have to see more from them. You'll see why I have the teams that I have in this next and final tier. Okay, now let's get to it. Now the final tier, contenders, self-explanatory. All these teams I think are elite. All these teams are really good, and I think they're going to be either the top two teams or one of these teams are going to end up in the finals. Now let's get to this tier, man. Now Toronto, with the first round pick, Ryan Williams, he has a really, really nice, solid team around him that can score in many ways. I expect big things from this team. This is pretty much an easy team to put here. Next up, we got Memphis with Darius Prince. He's literally probably the third best player in the league Didn't play good preseason, but I feel like he's going to have a really, really good game in his season opener. All right, now let's get to the next team. We got Cerulean. Cerulean, probably the most balanced team in the league. They got a little bit of everything. They got shooters, got mid-range, got the inside, and they got defense. So I would not be surprised if this team just has a bunch of success through the season and the playoffs. Next up, we got Dallas, another easy team to put up here with Derek Irvin. You can put him top 1, top 2. It don't matter. He's going to be up there. Derek Irvin. He's going to make sure his team has success. I just want to see if they're going to have playoff success. And last team on this list, Saffron Kicks. Now, Saffron, Topher Newton, he has a nice roster around him. He's back with his old teammates, Michael Morgan. Topher Newton played together at Columbus. They already have chemistry. They were pretty good last year in the development league, and I don't expect nothing less this year. Appreciate you guys for watching the broadcast. Now let's get into these games of the week. Now the first game, you already know, Memphis, Atlanta is gonna be a banger. Darius Prince and Ty Adams are gonna go at it. Make sure you head to the betting table on who you think will win this match to win some money. Next up, Dallas and Charlotte. It's another game that's gonna be really good. Dimitri Travagis. He's going to take a nice, better team. He's going to match up with Derek Irvin, see how they match up. Make sure to tune into those games to figure out if you want the giveaway, the season opener giveaway, by me giving it to you guys just for supporting me, man. I appreciate all the love I've been getting. Everybody's been telling me they've been having a nice time watching the league. Unless the season's about to pop off, let the excitement run out. Love you guys. Y'all take care. Mark Harris out.